As the official healthcare provider of Minnesota United, Allina Health is focused on keeping our Loons in top condition. And with expertise in orthopedics, sports medicine, heart care, and more, Allina has the team to keep your family in the game too. The experts at Allina Health take the time to get to know you as a whole person, helping you achieve wellness for your mind, body, and spirit. It's an altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.org. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sound of the Loons. We are officially January 29th is when we are recording this. Robin Lod, the midfielder, is joining us from Tucson, Arizona. As you can tell, if you're watching this video form of his decorative, stylish background. Robin, I appreciate you. I'm sure you're like, dang, now I'm back healthy again. Now I got to do these interviews. Now I got to be stuck on this podcast. But welcome back into the fold. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm good, thank you. Just trying to get fitter as the season is coming up. So yeah, all good.
Well, you were with the national team a bit, I know. And I know I remember seeing some footage of you even training with Minnesota United at the very end of the season. I know you weren't fully back in full form, maybe full practices, but I remember seeing some clips and some, video and photos of the team training, and you were right in the mix. But talk to us about the offseason. What has that been like for you? And even, we'll get to your injury, but what has the actual quote unquote offseason been like for you?
I mean, usually the offseason, I try to get to Finland and spend as much as time as I can there with the families and with my friends and enjoy the people. And yeah, obviously this year a little bit different because of the injury. So had to do some rehab, a little bit more than I normally would do in the off season. But yeah, mostly try to relax and forget the soccer part for a little bit and just spend time with the closest one.
I remember a couple years ago when your daughter was still pretty little, I swear I saw somebody showed me like an Instagram photo of you like in the snow with your wife and your daughter like back home. So do you like pull her on a sled? Like what's your off-season training program? Do you try to incorporate the family at all?
Yeah, I mean, we do some snow activities as much as you could do with the weather, and yeah, mostly is working in the gym because the weather is, as people know who are from Minnesota, is pretty similar. So it's not the easiest to just go for a jog outside and or find a field and go play. But yeah, I just mostly work on the gym.
So when you had this season where you spent a good chunk of it on the sidelines or up in the suite watching the games, not being able to participate, can you just walk us through even the moment when you suffered the injury? I believe, if I recall, you even played a bit on it. You didn't come out injured right away. Am I remembering that right, or am I misremembering that?
Yeah, I got the injury pretty early on the game, but at the game I didn't feel that bad about it, and I don't know, is it part of the adrenaline or part of the competitive myself that I don't want to quit too easy. And yeah, I just played the game and remember the following morning I had a lot of pain and thought like something is not right with the knee. And yeah, then had a scans and the doctor told me the not so great news and about it. And I mean, it's always a little bit a shock to hear that you're gonna spend the rest of the season on the sidelines, and especially for myself, I've been pretty healthy, luckily through my whole career. So this was like the first major injury. So yeah, it was tough to receive the news.
Talk us through that mentally, emotionally. I mean, here you are normally traveling, you're gone all the time, and now all of a sudden you're like thrown back into like full time with the family. Maybe your wife was sick of you at some point. I know how that feels when all of a sudden you're around all the time. But what was that like for you mentally and emotionally to go through your first real long-term injury? I know we had Bakai on the podcast last year when he got back into it. So what was that like for you?
I mean, in the beginning, it was tough to just receive the news and think about that you're not gonna play for many months. And but at the same time, I try to just switch it in a positive thing and think about that now I don't have to go to the away trips and I can spend the more more time with the family. And I think our daughter enjoyed it
Mhm.
pretty much. And obviously we were expecting the second one on October, so it was good to also know that you will be there at the hospital and not have to stress about it that you don't make it to the hospital. And yeah, I just try to turn it in a positive thing that there's also some good out of it.
Does it ever feel too like you sort of get this like rejuvenated feeling? Not that you were burnt out on soccer, but I mean, it's a grind. It's a lot of work between the national team, between your club team and traveling and doing all those things. Like, does it feel like this renewed sort of appreciation for it sometimes when all of a sudden you can't do something that you're used to doing every day?
Yeah, surely. I mean, I've been playing a lot the past few years, and yeah, sometimes it feels like a chore. And surely after the injury, I appreciate it more to be healthy, and I appreciate more to be on the field. And that's actually something that I really enjoy. So it gave me a lot of hunger to come back and be on the field and give my best. So in that sense, it gives you a little bit more for sure.
You seem like a pretty cerebral player when you're on the pitch, right? I can see you like thinking through things. You're clearly reading the game. You play on the outside, you play centrally, you played up top before. What was that like for you at sitting up in the box, in the booth, up, in the suite, seeing the game from that viewpoint, which doesn't happen very often unless you're dealing with an injury, or maybe when you've been on international duty and the team wasn't off and you've been able to watch a game or something. But what was that like for you? Did you have a different perspective of the game and what was happening with Minnesota United from that spot?
I mean, it's tough for sure. You kind of feel useless in a way that you wish you could be there and or you wish you could help the guys. And I felt like it's easy to watch the games when the things are going really well and you're happy for the guys and you just enjoy it. But once things are going not so great, you feel like you want to be there and you want to grind with your friends and make it work. So yeah, it was tough for sure. What's some of the games last season.
Now you're back in the mix. I know I mentioned, I think you were training a bit at the end of last year, but now in full force here with preseason. What was that like to come back to the team, to the mix? And I know, there's still a little bit of question marks and thought process between the head coach, but Cameron Knowles has stepped right in and taken the reins as far as running the sessions and all that. And I believe Colette is there now, so you'll be able to have an opportunity to connect with him. But what is it like just to be back with the guys? And when you come back for preseason and everybody gets back together again, what's that been like?
It's nice, especially coming from the injury. I feel like the best part is just to join with the team and be with the team because when you're injured, even though you are on the facility at the same time with the guys, but you're still working alone on the side and or on the gym when the others are on the field. So it can be a little bit lonely sometimes. So I think the best part is just to join with the guys and be social with each other. So that's the.
How'd you do on the did you guys do the beep test? What was the fitness test this year?
I think we did a couple of different tests this year. We did one back in Minnesota in the first days, and then we did one here in Arizona. So yeah, those went well. We're somewhere middle ground, so that was good enough.
What were you impressed with the most coming back to this group? I mean, I know that we're gonna, talk to one of the draftees, Hugo, following this interview with you, but there's been some other movement, some other additions to this group. What has maybe impressed you the most this so far coming back in?
I think it's early days to say. We only had one game, and people have played only just a half time, so it's really hard to say. But I feel like all the new guys have been coming really well and their energy level has been really well, and you could see that they are here to show and try to fight for the spot, so which is great to see. And yeah, I'm really looking forward closer to the season when we had the full preseason to see and give a better answer on that.
What do you like the most about, I should say, which position do you like the most? You're so versatile. That's always something that's been talked about with you. Like, regardless of where, we could probably put you a goalkeeper. I think Boxy had legitimately said that before. We could at least maybe throw you at center back. But where do you see yourself most benefiting this team?
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say because I've been playing always in a different position, and yeah, I cannot lie. It would be nice to be a striker and score 4 or 5 goals in a game. I cannot lie that one, but yeah, I mean, lately I've been enjoying playing more on the middle. I feel like you can affect the game more, and you get to the center of the field, and you can read the game a little bit more, and that's something I've been enjoying more lately.
You're not going to play it. You're not going to convince the incoming head coach of a two-striker system with your Finnish national teammate up top. You guys just going to sit up there and combine a little 1-2 all day long?
I might give him a hint once the season goes on, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
When you look at how last year ended, also from the perspective that you had, and this team having made the playoffs for so many years in a row, and then seeing how the season wound up, and the knowing the time and the energy and the work that this group, puts in every single day of training and whatnot. What was sort of your perspective, your reflection from your point of view on the last year and then looking ahead to 2024?
I mean, it's always disappointment if you don't make to the playoff or try to win in this league, and I feel like the most is like knowing the potential we have as a group and as a team, and how good players we have. I felt like it was really disappointing that we couldn't fight more on the last season. Obviously, there was a lot of things that affected. There's many players who missed a lot of chunk part of the season, and so on. But yeah, I can't say more. For me, my personal opinion, it was disappointment because I see a lot of good things from the team, and I know the potential we have, and I felt like last season we couldn't reach that.
When you look at your role on this team, you've been here for quite some time now. You're one of the older guys on the team, not in like a bad way, in a good way. But how do you view your leadership style, especially coming into a season where there's still a few question marks, right? But I know I talked to Will Trapp about this a few weeks ago, and just saying how you kind of have to find what your individual leadership style is, whatever that might be, and sort of embrace that. How do you come into this preseason to 2024? What sort of, how do you go about your business, to sort of affect the group?
No, I mean, for my personally, I think I just try to do the small things and the everyday things as well as I can, and just show by example. Like if we are training, that we would do the trainings well, and not just chill around and be there, just to be that we will work when we need to work, and do those things well. And if it's condition and you need to run, I'll try to do my best and show that even the older guys, we do it. It's not fun, but you have to do it, and just show the younger guys that all those little things, they affect in a long term, and make it better. And obviously then I feel like I can talk to the younger guys and teach them one thing or two from my experience, and just be there if they need me.
Were you in on that soccer tennis type game that I saw the other day? It went out on social media. It looked like Dane St. Clair, Will Trapp, Caden Clark, everybody was running around celebrating. Like, were you in on that one or no?
Yeah. I was there, but I feel like it's more the Southern American who enjoy that game more than us from the northern part of the world. So yeah.
Well, I feel like that's why they were celebrating so much, because they beat the South Americans, that whole crew, in that particular match. So that was like Dane saying, well, Dane's always up for a little celebration whenever he's victorious, especially the goalies. I feel like when they can celebrate a good touch or like a good finish, or maybe like winning a fitness test or something, they're gonna make sure to do it.
Yeah, I mean the Southern Americans, I think they won all the games until the very last game. So it will be that somebody else take the crown in the end, and yeah, they celebrated for sure.
So speaking of that, though, just watching the energy from those kinds of things, the footage that gets put out from the digital crew and the fabulous job that they all do, it's business, right? When you're at preseason, but at the same time, there's a huge aspect of this preseason and any preseason that is team building, team bonding. You're away from your families. You're all in these hotels. You're doing multiple sessions a day. What has that been like to sort of just be removed from all the distractions and be focused on that and the team building aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to be away from home, and especially for the players who have kids and family. But surely, like it's a good thing to have a good group and have a good time, because when everybody's in a good move and being positive, you can work way better. And actually those tougher trainings, they don't feel as bad as they could be if we have a good mindset and a good time. So it's really important to have a good time as well. It's the best job in the world, and just try to remember that you have to do your work, but at the same time you can do the hard work and have fun. So it's good that we are having good time, and we try to embrace that and be as together as we can, because that will make us even better.
Speaking of best job in the world, I think a huge piece of that is probably representing your national team and being able to do that. And I know you were back with Finland, I think it was back in November. What did that feel like to get back on the field, A, because you were returning from a long-term injury, and B, just to be back with the national team and representing your country again?
Yeah, there was a lot of things that went really well on my comeback. So obviously getting back to play from the injuries was first thing, and then the second thing, to play with the national team, where I have a lot of friends, and also playing in Finland, where a lot of families could come to watch. So yeah, it was amazing, and just putting the national shirt on is really proud moment. So yeah, it was good time.
Do you feel like you're the same player that you were before the injury? I mean, I know it wasn't like, I mean, it's a long-term injury, something you've not dealt with before. Do you feel like you're back, or are you still in work in progress?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still myself. Nothing have changed, and I don't think I forgot how to play in this past half a year. So yeah, I feel like myself is just to getting myself as fit as I can, and obviously the game fitness comes by games. So really looking forward for the games in the preseason and start the season.
And lastly, just what are you most excited? I know you just said you're looking forward to the season, but if there's something specific, is there something you're most excited about looking into and ahead to 2024?
No, I think mostly to be healthy and be on the field. And yeah, as I said before, coming from the injury, you just appreciate the game more, and you actually have the enjoyment from out of it. So I just try to go there and enjoy and be happy, and then after that to be as competitive as I can, and see where the team goes this season.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Robin. I'm sure everybody at Allianz Field is looking forward to seeing you back on the field in full force at the home opener. But I appreciate you taking the time today. I know you got a busy schedule so thanks for joining me.
No, thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. Segment number 2, one of the newest Loons joins me here on Sound of the Loons. You don't have to wait for spring to start playing the beautiful game. Starting in February, Minnesota United has a full slate of academy and youth camps scheduled throughout 2024. Show off your skills, take your game to the next level, and enjoy some quality time on the field with MNUFC's licensed academy staff. Visit the camps and combines page on MNUFC.com for more information. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to segment number 2 of Sound of the Loons, presented by Allina Health. Now we get to be joined to one of the newest members of Minnesota United. You see him, if you're watching it, sporting the baby blue there, one of the new tops. I got to get me one of those. Hugo Bacharach, thank you so much for joining me. I want to get down to, your journey coming from Spain, playing in the United States, getting drafted by Minnesota. But first and foremost, how are you in Tucson, Arizona today?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing very, very good. Very excited to be here. And preseason has been going great so far. Having a great time with the team, so it's been very good.
What was your first impression when you actually arrived in Minnesota? I mean, you played in the Big Ten, so I know Minnesota doesn't have a Division I team that you would play against at IU, but you played in the Big Ten. You were in Indiana, so you understand the climate. But what was it like when you first arrived in Minnesota after being drafted 9th overall?
People would always warn me about the weather, and I kind of knew it was gonna be cold, but to be completely honest, I didn't know it was gonna be that cold. You know what I mean? It was very, very cold, but I brought all my heavy jackets. I made sure I brought everything with me. So it's been pretty cold, but I think the both cities are beautiful, and since we're now out in Tucson, I haven't had much time to enjoy the cities, but I'm really looking forward to spending some quality time in the Twin Cities.
Well, there's been plenty of guys that have arrived that didn't have a heavy jacket and didn't own a pair of boots. So you're already ahead of the game, and that you at least had a big puffy jacket to wear. And you guys arrived on like the coldest weekend we've had so far. Every other weekend, I mean, today it's 50 degrees and sunny here. So we've had this crazy warm winter, but I think you guys arrived for your first weekend on literally the coldest weekend we've had so far this winter.
Yeah, when I got to Minnesota the first time in my life, it was, I don't know, it was like -10 or something, and I was like, if this is gonna be this cold the whole year, I don't know how am I gonna survive. But yeah, no, as I said, I brought everything, all the hats, the boots, the gloves. I came very prepared, but I've been checking the weather, and I know now it's like way like warmer. So no, it's just like one rough week. It was a big coincidence that it was actually our first week. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember when Bongagukle Hlongwane first arrived, Bongi, and I remember walking with him from like the main facility at Blaine through that little tunnel to get to the dome. And he was like, what am I doing here? I've come from this warm climate and now I'm stuck in this freezing cold. But look he's still coming back for more. So it'll be all good.
No, my first week, I remember I would shower at the facilities, and then I had to walk to my car when my hair was wet, and by the time I got to the car, like I was outside for maybe like only 20 seconds. I got inside, and my hair was all frozen. And I was like, oh, what is going on here?
Talk to me about draft day. What was that like for you? And deciding to we'll reverse a little farther in your decision to come to the United States for college soccer, and you started out at FDU and then you ended up at IU. But what was draft day like for you?
I think it was one of the most special days of my life. I was back home in Spain with all my family. I was very excited that I was gonna spend that such an important day with all my family and friends. And I was very excited. I knew I had a good season, but you never know with the draft. You never know what are the needs of the teams. So I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very nervous. I remember watching the first picks, and I'm like, man, when is my name gonna be called? And just when I was, when I heard my name, I couldn't believe it. My dream was always to be a professional soccer player, and by hearing that name, it paid off all the effort, all the sacrifice that me and my parents have been through this last like years. So it was like a special moment that even right now it's been like a month and a half almost, and it's a moment that I still can't describe.
Kind of a whirlwind, I'm sure. I feel like, you get drafted and then all of a sudden it's like everything else gets put into motion. And then before you know it, you're on a plane to Minnesota, and then you're on a plane to Tucson, and then you're going to come back here for a couple of days, and you're going to be back in California for another preseason tournament. I mean, you've traveled a lot in your young life, coming from Spain and then going to FDU and then IU, but maybe nothing quite like what you're about to be on for the foreseeable future in your professional career.
Yeah, I know it's been a crazy time, but I haven't even had time to sit down and process everything that is going on in the last month. But I am also very excited to all the preseason practice, all the traveling. Some people might think, oh, you have to go here, you have to fly there. It's like quick turnarounds, but we live for these, and we love spending time with the team, making new friends, new teammates that hopefully I will keep for all my life. So, it's in a very exciting time for me now.
Talk about your youth soccer and growing up in Spain. I believe you were with Villarreal and then deciding to come to the United States for college soccer. What was your youth experience like, and what made you decide to come to the United States for college?
So I started playing for the Villarreal Academy, which is one of the best academies in Spain. That's what I developed myself the most as a person and as a player. I played there for 10 years, were very, very good 10 years. Then when I finished there, I played 2 more years for my hometown club, which is name is Castellón. And at that time, I started college in Spain because in my house, academics always come first because you can never rely on soccer. You never know what's going to happen. So I started my first year in college in Spain, and it honestly was pretty tough for me, to do both things at the same time. I tried to be good in class and I tried to be good in the field, and I just couldn't be any good at neither of it. So I started doing some research. I had older friends that would tell me how going to be like getting a scholarship and studying in the US was the best experience they've ever experienced, not only soccer wise, but social wise, how they improved their English, how they made connections worldwide. So I started like liking that idea. I'm an only child, so my parents didn't like that idea at first, because the US is pretty far. But when I explained them all the benefits that could come from coming to the US, they started liking it. And I had good grades, I had good soccer quality, so I was able to find like a good scholarship. So then I ended up at FDU, where I spent 3 great years. A great program, social wise, was also very, very good. And then it was a good program, but maybe it wasn't a program big enough to accomplish my dream, which was play in a professional team. So I decided to play my last year in a big school, and then I entered the transfer portal. I got reached out by Indiana University, which I would say for me is the Real Madrid of schools. Is when Indiana calls you, you can't say no. So I was very lucky to end up there. It was a very short period of time. I was only there for 4 months, but it was enough time just to prove that I could play in the next level. And then I got drafted by Minnesota, and here am I today. So it's been a great journey that is just getting started.
How many times was your family able to come over and see you play while you were in college? Or is it the beauty of all these networks and streaming things that we have these days, which we didn't have a long time ago, to be able to watch from afar? But how much did your family, was they able to come over here and see you?
So they came 3 times already. I remember they came my second year in FDU because the first one was COVID, so it was much more complicated. Then they came again to FDU to my graduation, because it was a very special moment for them. And then this last fall they came to Indiana because I couldn't I needed them to see all the facilities, all the big school experience. So I was very happy that they could make it and enjoy the time at Indiana. And also they've been very supportive, my parents, from day one. They've been staying up late for every game, because think about it, when we play here at 8 p.m. in Spain, it's probably 2 or 3 a.m. But I'm their only little child, so they would stay up late the whole night, waiting. Even if they couldn't watch the game, they would just follow the live stats and text me right after to see how it was. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And thanks to all the technology that we have nowadays, they've been able to follow me and make sure that I was doing okay in off the field.
Talk to us about you as a player. What is your preferred position? How do you feel like, and I know maybe college is different than your youth, what you played in your youth time, and then maybe now different as a professional. But I know when I was texting with my husband's cousin, Tanner, who coached you or was assistant coach at IU, he said, look, we started him out at center back, but him moving to the 6 changed our season. It like vastly improved our year and made us the team that we were, that made the Elite 8 run, moving you to that position because of how intelligent you are on the ball, your decision-making skills, moving you from center back to the 6. What do you feel you could best serve at this next level?
I've always been a center back, preferably a right-sided center back. But when things weren't going our way in Indiana, we felt that we needed to change something. And for some reason that the coaches could tell you about, they decided to move me a line forward. It was a very like complicated for me at first because I was a little bit nervous because I hadn't played in that position yet. But as you said, that turned around our season. We started winning games, started playing better, and I started feeling more and more comfortable playing in the six. But to be completely honest, I think my preferred position and where I can perform better is a center back. But as I said, it's a good versatility that I have the ability to play in both positions. I think that's going to help me out, not only me, but also the teams that I play for. So even though it was a great time playing in the middle for Indiana, I think I'm performing better as a right center back.
What did the coaches say to you when they drafted you? What's the conversation like? I mean, I'm assuming there's some sort of a conversation about, hey, this is why we chose you. This is why we picked you in the top 10 to come in and do this, this, and this for us, or see if you can do this, this, and this.
Well, I mean, I don't like to talk about myself a lot, but I consider myself a pretty unique center back because I consider myself a pretty fast player for my size and a pretty mobile player for my size. I'm also a center back that likes to play with the ball. I know Minnesota likes to keep the ball and break lines with the ball, and I think I'm a player that can do that and loves to honestly to break lines and play forward. I think also my aerial game, it's also very helpful for the team, as a tall guy that can win first headers, also can be dangerous in offensive set pieces, be a lock in defensive set pieces. I think that's also very important, and I think they consider that when on the draft day. And also that they like how I'm a leader inside the field, try to manage my back line and be a leader. I think all that together came about in the draft day, and then decided to pick me.
Yeah, I know Michael Boxall's been known to gallivant forward with the ball at his feet more times than I can remember out of that center back spot. So I'm sure it'll be a welcome addition that you do that the same, that you can bring the ball forward, start the attack, keep possession. And Mickey Tapia, same thing. He's so good at the possession out of the back with that Minnesota United team. So I'm sure they saw those qualities in you and were like, check, 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 right? Checked all the boxes, bringing you in. Who's been most helpful since you've been in for preseason with Minnesota United? Anybody in particular that you sort of latched onto?
Yeah, actually, you just mentioned him. I think Mickey Tapias has been like a big brother to me. Not only that we play in the same position, but he's been very helpful with all the things that I need. Honestly, everybody has been very helpful, not only my teammates, but also the staff. I've been unbelievable how welcoming they all have been. But if I had to pick someone, I would pick Mickey, because we can speak Spanish, which is also make it easier. And we play in the same position. We like the same music. We have the same hobbies. And I have a lot to learn from him. He's been an unbelievable player in the league. So, I look up to him and look forward to getting to know him more and learn from him every day.
Do you know Angie? Please tell me you have met Angie, the woman who makes all things happen with Minnesota United.
I have, and I don't think she gets all the credit that she deserves. But without her, all this team wouldn't come together. The work that she does 24/7, it's necessary for this team to be where it is right now.
That's why I had to give her a little shout out on the podcast, because I've witnessed it for years now. Like, she literally is in charge of everything. And I mean, like, it could be, finding a guy a place to live, to getting him a car, to, making sure somebody's girlfriend has flowers, to like anything, you name it. Angie will find a way to get it done. She's absolutely incredible.
Literally anything you may need. I remember I was having, like, not issues, but I was having a lot of questions with my visa, with where was I gonna stay, what time did I have to be on the facility, everything, and she helped me out with everything. When I told her, she replied to me within minutes. So it was, it's someone that you definitely need in your team if you want things to be successful.
What has been the biggest eye opener for you, maybe, since you joined a professional team? I know you've played at an incredibly high level, but every step along your way in your career has been another step forward, right? Another step up. What has been maybe a surprising thing for you since you've been? I know it's just training. You guys have only had one game. You haven't had an opportunity to play against others too much, but anything that you're like, whoa, I can tell now I'm playing with professionals.
I would say, first of all, the professionalism, everything, it's very, very professional. Not only the things that people would think about, just the small details make a big difference. And that's one thing that I noticed compared to the teams that I played before or even college. how being on time, being respectful, being clean. That's something that I notice. And as I said, these small details that maybe teams don't, pay too much attention to it, make a huge difference. And also, of course, the speed of play and how everybody's in the same page, how everybody brings their 100% energy every day, whether it's in the gym, whether it's in traveling, whether it's in the game, in practice. That's something that I wasn't very used to it, because college is a different experience. So that's probably one of the biggest difference that I've noticed in the short amount of time that I've been with Minnesota.
What's the any days on the calendar that your family has circled yet to head over and experience Allianz Field? I'm sure they've been in some pretty impeccable stadiums over in Spain, but Allianz Field is no slouch. So any particular days on the calendar they've circled, or are they going to wait till it gets a little warmer out?
That's the thing that I was going to say. The first thing they want is Hugo, we really love you, we do, but man, we need to wait. We need to wait a couple months till it gets a little bit warmer with there, because but to be honest, since the day we found that I was gonna be in Minnesota, they've done a huge research. I think my parents know more about the city than I do right now, so I'm sure they're already gonna be finding the best places to stay, the best places to eat, and as soon as it gets a little bit warmer, they're gonna book a flight. Hopefully, it's just one way. They stay here for as long as they want, because I'm sure they're gonna love not only the city but the team, the stadium. So I'm really looking forward to have them, and hopefully they can be here for a couple of home games, which is gonna be great atmosphere. So I'm really looking forward for that.
So tell the fans, anybody who's listening or watching this, when it goes out there on the social channels, what's one thing about you that nobody knows? Not nobody knows, but like if you just went to Wikipedia, you wouldn't know that about you. Something that you want the fans of Minnesota United to know about you.
Well, I want people to know that I'm very, very, very funny. I'm one of the funniest guys you can meet. I always like to have a good time. But when it's time to work, I'm the first one putting the work in, and you know what I mean. I know how to realize when it's time to have fun and when it's time to work, and that's something that I think that's something very important, and that's something that maybe people wouldn't think about me right now, but that's something that I want them to know, and they will start to know it as long as the season gets going.
Well, and I feel like, usually during preseason, there's some sort of like talent show, or like people have to get up in front and do different things. Like, so maybe, are you going to do like some stand-up comedy, or what kind of funny are we talking about here?
I don't know what are they gonna. I'm sure they're gonna have something prepared for the new players. So I'm already thinking about something. Since we have like a very diverse group. We have a lot of Spanish-speaking players. We also have a lot of Americans that love Spanish music. I thought I could sing a Spanish song. You know what I mean? That the Spanish people plays, but there's also a song that is famous enough that the Americans players will know too. I think by doing that, I'm gonna have everybody dancing with me, and I think it's gonna be awesome.
Awesome. I love that. And maybe you'll be you'll take over as DJ in the locker room one of these days. I know there's kind of a pecking order with that, but I always like to hear the music that's happening in the locker room. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's a mix depending on the mood sometimes. But let me tell you that we hit every single genre. We have it all. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. It's a pleasure to talk with you, and I'm glad to hear that preseason's going great. I think you're going to love it here in Minnesota. That you can't beat the summer here in Minnesota. It's absolutely amazing. So I look forward to seeing you back here at Blaine and at Allianz Field. So thanks for taking the time, Hugo. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. Another episode of Sound of the Loons coming up next week. Preseason will still be in full swing, but thanks for joining me. Sound of the Loons, presented by Allina Health.